We begin our story today, where all good stories do, at the top of Mount Everest. The tallest location on our terrestrial plane. Climbing this mountain is a feat that we are all well aware of. But on May 29th of 1953, a man with arguably the most British name ever, Sir Edmund Percival Hillary, became the first to summit the mother of all mountains, with his Sherpa Tenzing Norgay. He was also the first person to complete the Three Poles Challenge, which means he was the first man to go to the North Pole, the South Pole, and summit Mount Everest. For their amazing accomplishments at the top of our world, both men were named in Time's 100 most influential people of the 20th century. Nowadays, the mountain is summited by a lot more people. The majestic scene tainted by tourists being lazily led up the mountain. Long gone are the days of people fighting tooth and nail and perishing trying to achieve the seemingly unachievable. But that is entirely unlike today's subject. In order to get into today's topic, we need to go back in time, millions and millions of years. Two tectonic plates crash into one another. It doesn't happen in an instant. It's slow and gradual, but inevitable. We call the culmination of these plates meeting Mount Everest. While around 6,000 kilometers away, two different plates collide and have a similar, if opposite, effect. The Challenger Deep. But before we get into that, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who is afraid of the ocean. And without further ado, allow me to drag you down to the world's largest graveyard. The Challenger Deep is the deepest part of the deepest trench in the ocean, Marianas Trench. At a length of 2,550 kilometers and a width of 69 kilometers, Marianas Trench is the largest trench in the seven seas, with an immense depth of 11 kilometers. It is so deep that you could fit all of Mount Everest into the trench and still have a mile to go until you reach the bottom, or the equivalent of 5 Grand Canyons, a place untouched by the light of our star, or any source of light for that matter. The Challenger Deep keeps its secrets in the dark. At a PSI of 15,570, almost anything that would dare to venture this deep would pop like a balloon. In fact, when vessels come back from these depths, they return shrunken from the enormous amount of pressure. And that's one of the main reasons that only 27 people have ventured to the lowest point known on Earth. By comparison, over 600 people have been to space. The first humans to ever descend to the bottom of Marianas Trench were Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh in 1960. Apparently all great adventures comes in pairs, just like me and Bones here. But the man I most find interesting is Victor Vescovo. The year is 2010, and Victor Vescovo is summiting Mount Everest, much like Sir Edmund Hillary before him. And also like Sir Edmund Hillary, he is a legendary explorer. Victor Vescovo was born in Dallas, Texas. A man whose lists of achievements are almost as long as his greatest achievement. Almost 9 years after climbing Mount Everest, he dove to the deepest depths of the world's largest graveyard. In less than 10 years, he went from nearly 9,000 meters above sea level to 11 kilometers below it, to the bottom of the known ocean, a staggering vertical distance of nearly 20,000 meters, or nearly 12.5 miles if you prefer freedom units. This incredible feat earned him the Guinness World Record for the most vertical distance traveled by a human. Victor is arguably the greatest adventurer in our lifetime. He has completed the 7 summits, which, much like the 3 poles, means reaching the North Pole, the South Pole, and climbing the highest point on all 7 continents. He has also been to the deepest spot in all 5 oceans during his 5 Deeps expedition. But unfortunately for Victor, arguably the most famous man to go to the bottom of the Challenger Deep is director James Cameron. On his Deep Sea Challenge in 2012, it was the first extensive scientific exploration of this unfathomably deep spot in the ocean. While being one of the most successful directors in history, Cameron is also a very accomplished explorer of the sea. He has over 70 submersible dives under his belt, 33 of which were to the Titanic wreckage. His most ambitious dive was to the deepest anyone had been since 1960, the Challenger Deep. While Piccard and Walsh's dive was incredible, especially for the time they managed it, unfortunately their submersible, Triste, had no cameras or any ability to retrieve samples. That is precisely what the Deep Sea Challenger was made for. And shortly after finishing building this submersible, James Cameron first showed it to one man, Don Walsh. This groundbreaking, or wave-breaking, expedition discovered a staggering 68 new species in the 13 dives they made during the expedition, and collected samples of rocks and microorganisms that are still being studied to this day. If you haven't seen it yet, the Deep Sea Challenge 3D documentary is amazing. If you're still interested in this expedition or the Challenger Deep in general, we highly recommend giving it a watch. Life at the bottom of the ocean is quite unique, and unfortunately, or fortunately, there are no hydras, or krakens, or megalodons, at least that we know of. But there are a good number of species that have had to evolve to endure a number of hazardous conditions, such as pressure, the cold, lack of food, and complete darkness. Temperatures in the abyss range from -5 degrees Celsius to over 400 degrees Celsius due to volcanic vents that spew boiling hot water continuously. To deal with these obstacles, the creatures down here have had to evolve, strangely. One strange deep-sea critter is the hatchetfish, who evolved massive eyes to see using the tiny amount of light poking through the veil of the sea. But these hatchetfish live only at a depth of up to 1,200 meters. Diving deeper, you'll find creatures like the dragonfish, who've utilized bioluminescence to produce their own light to attract prey or mates. But these fish have only been documented up to a depth of 2,000 meters. Diving deeper still, we'll see the deepest ever documented fish at a whopping 8,100 meters below the surface. A new species of snailfish discovered in 2014. Past this point of depth, invertebrates like sea cucumbers and many others populate the deepest of seas, consisting of shrimp, scale worm, polychaete worms, as well as massive supergiant amphipods, who grow a whopping 20 times larger than your average amphipod. While these interesting creatures do live down this far, by far the most successful is bacteria. Able to withstand just about any environment on Earth, bacteria reign supreme at the bottom of the ocean. There are sure to be many more species down this far, but as of yet, the secrets of the Challenger Deep stay hidden in those dark and unforgiving depths. Thank you for watching today's video. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with a friend who likes sea cucumbers. And remember to comment the timestamp for the fun little sea creature we hid in the video. The first comment to do so will be pinned to the top of the comments. This has been the world's largest graveyard. And remember, stay safe out there, friends.